Welcome to FirstOffTheBike.com's Tri Cafe, proudly supported by Team Degani Cycling Cafe. Here we are again, episode 4. I've got a new fella sitting in place of Daniel Hoy. Luke Bell, welcome to the show.
It's nice to bump Daniel off the stage here.
Get well soon, Daniel.
Mitch Anderson also joins as well. Two of the best triathletes in the business. We'll be talking all things triathlon. The first thing, guys, let's talk about IM Malaysia. Just happened. Our man Luke McKenzie failed to finish, had a bad day, but Marino, he's the man.
Reminds me of Good Morning Vietnam. It was hot and wet, and it's nice to feel a lady, but it ended with you in the jungle. Anyway, amazing race from Marino von Acker. He's a dominant athlete. Belly, you've raced him.
How do you pronounce his name?
Von Acker.
Von Acker. Okay.
You've seen him firsthand. How's he go? He's won his last 3 from 4. He's a guy to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah, well, Marino's been racing for over a decade now, which a lot of people don't realise. But I think it's since 2006 at Ironman Austria where he took over from Zemstev, I think it was. Zemstev, and has continually won Austria since then. So, and obviously gone top 10 at Kona a couple of times. He was definitely going to be the one to beat out there, even though Luke returning as previous champion.
The only chink in his armour is that he's in Europe when he should be preparing for Hawaii, and it's clearly not a good preparation for Euros.
Certainly, he looked good though, half an hour in front of everybody else, and it's a field that will probably be, they weren't the strongest field, but he still put time into them. The other person who put time into everybody was Belinda Granger, who's back and on the winning circuit, and she did a really nice job.
She had the pipes cleaned out last year, the old femoral arteries were a bit kinked, and now she's the iliac, so she's back. And she absolutely dominated the women's field and ensured that only she and the second place got paid.
Certainly it's a different formula for Belinda, isn't it? It's just get out of the water and ride as hard as you can.
I think, Belinda's worked out that obviously a swim and a solid or strong bike, or let's just say a hard bike ride, whether it be hilly, hot, whatever, suits her. Her short, stumpy little legs may not get through the marathon as quickly as everyone else.
We are good friends, folks.
We are good friends, so I'm allowed to say this.
Used to be.
So she does. She picks those races that suit her strengths, and that's smart on her behalf, and it shows it works.
And let me just point the finger at anyone who points the finger at her for drafting off her lovely partner Justin Granger. That is absolute rubbish. Unless you've got footage and you're going to post it on the web, don't you dare accuse Belinda Granger of sitting on her husband. She's a dominant bike rider.
I'd argue the case that Juzzy would often sit on Belinda.
We know who's wearing the pants in that relationship.
Zachary.
Well, it certainly was a great win for Belinda. Lovely to see her back on top of the podium. She's really, outside of Chrissy Wellington, she's one of the most dominant forces in women's Ironman racing because she's so consistent.
She's racking up the wins now, definitely. She's up, she's 12. Up to be close to 12 Ironman wins.
And certainly it's an impressive record for someone who, again, is late in her career still.
Late bloomer, you may say.
The other big thing to come out of Malaysia now, this is Pandora's box. We're about to open. The WTC have instigated the 8% rule, whereas if you don't finish within 8% of the winner, you don't get paid. You guys are professionals. You make your money from this. Mitch, where are you on this?
How long have we got?
Let's get it done quickly.
I wrote a bit of a polemic in this week's Ironman Australia. I'm losing my mind. Australian Triathlete magazine. And you can pick that up there. But suffice to say, I'm not really backing it in. They've made a slight change 10 days or 2 days ago now, where actually they're redistributing the prize money to the people who make the cutoff. Now, if you're going to put a rule in, just run the hypothetical before you put the rule in. That's all I'd say. And
you're an advocate of it, and you've been quite vocal this week on Twitter. Your favourite thing, and you've copped a bit of flack for it. And so you stand in an opposite corner.
There's always going to be people that need something to whinge about, as a couple of responses may have. I publicly put out there, I'm for it. Look, if you talk about 8%, Marino did, the 820, do the math. If you don't finish within 40 minutes, you shouldn't get paid. Greg Bennett responded, Jordan Rapp responded, 2 guys, and they said, they made it pretty clear. We're out there, we're performing, we're putting on a show, and if you don't put on a good enough show, it doesn't work. My argument it is, step up, perform, get paid. If not, find your next event.
Yeah, DNF and race the next week. That's what I'd say. Because no, seriously, that's what you're saying. If you're having a bad day, or you get a flat, or literally just, you're just feeling a little bit puffed, just pull out, because you should race the next week. Like, just.
But seriously, if you're finishing 40 minutes behind the winner, maybe you shouldn't be calling yourself a professional.
Yeah, don't finish.
It's 40 minutes, 4-minute K paces, which a lot of guys try and run. There's 10 kilometres. If you're over 10 kilometres behind the winner,
all right, your point's well taken. But go to the women now. It's going to be a real shock to the system for the women's racing, and the whole idea about having equal prize money is to bring the standard of the racing up. Now, you could argue that having this percentage difference means that women will cherry pick the weaker races. But also with the dominant forces like Granger and Wellington, we're going to have real problems with actually getting more than 10 starters at Ironman Hawaii.
Well, I think it's something that's going to be played out for the rest of this season. It's not going to be resolved sitting at this table. I might have to stand in the middle of you two guys. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about all things ITU, including what's up with Alistair Brownlee. Welcome to FirstOffTheBike.com's Tri Cafe, proudly presented by Team Degani Cycling Cafe. Big store opening up at the Docklands. Looking forward to seeing that come online very shortly.
Seeing it, I want to go there and drink some coffee.
You'll be able to do that very shortly.
I'd rather be blind drinking coffee down there.
The very big story that came out this week was Alistair Brownlee. Of course, we know he's we've been calling him the Harry Potter of the ITU circuit until he proved us all wrong and won about 12 in a row. Now, he's just come up with stress fractures. He's going to delay the start of his season. From a doctor's point of view, how is that going to affect him going forward?
Well, he'll need to spend a little bit less time at Hogwarts, I'd say, because what he needs to be doing is probably doing some water running. Obviously, athletes who are lighter of bone tend to have a bit of a predisposition to getting stress fractures, and you'd say that a guy like him, this is probably going to be a repeating problem, especially with the volume of running he's doing. And Luke,
you've been a young bloke in the spotlight. You were touted as the future of triathlon by none other than 6-time Ironman champion Mark Allen.
Look at you now.
I didn't win $1 million last year, did I?
So how is it though? How's it for a young bloke? All that pressure on him, now the stress fractures are coming up. He's going to be a little bit under the pump, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. But, he's proven himself last year, and I think, the pressure's going to subside a bit, and he's fine with that. It's just that literally the stress fracture. And I was reading last week in one of the Great Britain magazines that the guy's 6 foot tall, so 183 centimetres tall, and 62 kilos. So if you're talking about light bones, I think he's nearly full of helium. I get touted as being scrawny and one of the skinnier guys, and mate, next to him, I've got 10 kilos. I feel huge.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly someone who we're going to keep an eye on. He's really under the pump, though, I think, trying to defend. Going into London, all eyes are going to be on him for that gold medal.
Pressure.
Exactly. This is the part of the show that we all love. Mitch Anderson gets on his bike and don't get me started.
Don't get me started. This week, my target is you, Eddie Maguire. Screw you and your Mooney Ponds, you're dead to me. I watched the Olympic Games, I watched all this lovely snow coming down, and you're there taking it a week at a time. I mean, seriously, it's not footy, Eddie, and you and your mates going over there having a yobbo kind of time. I mean, seriously. Get some Olympians on there who actually are quite eloquent. I know a lot of eloquent Olympians, well, a couple of them anyway, and they could sure as hell do a better job than you, Eddie, Deddy, to me. The sea was angry that day, my friend.
Controversial as always, Mitch Anderson. That's all we've got time for tonight on FirstOffTheBike.com's Tri Cafe, brought to you by Team Degani Cycling Cafe. Tell us what you think.
Stay classy, Degani.